I'm wondering, though, who's going where at this draft of Boom Esports and who's going where for the side of SMG. Though I think SMG is much more self-explanatory, where Boom Esports, it is still very flexible as to where they put their heroes. Are we looking at a core Tiny here, John? Do you think maybe mid Tiny, flying out, maybe even a safe lane Tiny for Boom? Could it be a support Tiny for, say, Tim's?
I think I'd prefer it on the pause one. It just feels like that's where we've seen Tiny really pay off in the investment as a hero. But so let's say we do go for the pause one Tiny here, Mike. I think it's likely we'll see Snapfire for Tim's instead, as that's something he's also played a ton of. And then it's really just down to Weaver. Weaver support 5 for CTM. I think that's how they're gonna go. It should be Snapfire and Weaver on support, Tiny and Bloodseeker in the core roles, pocketing that Yopaj last pick to counteract the Storm. We'll have to see what they do, kind of deal with that. They don't have the best hold for Storm here on Boom's side. In fact, arguably they have no hold. And best thing you have is Blink Avalanche Toss and maybe landing the Blood Riot. But if you don't land the Blood Riot, Cookie has a slight delay, Storm should be able to zip around. Even Avalanche has some openings because it kind of staggers as a stun, so the Storm could maybe pop a quick BKB if it reaches that point, run off, or just look for an angle to zip away. The big issue for Boom's lineup is just holding down a Storm, and I think no matter how you flex your Tiny and Weaver around here, it doesn't fix it either way.
Fair enough. Well, Boom Esports, they've got one last pickup to go, and I do agree that the lockdown is certainly looking pretty lackluster right now for Boom. See how they do kind of mend that in this last pickup. Otherwise, it could be a very free Storm game here for Moon. As we saw last game, like even on that Mirana, it's not something you usually see in the mid lane anymore, but the man can make it work. So if he can make things like the Mirana work, then I have very high expectations of something like the Storm to come out or Moon here for SMG. Boom Esports though, one last pickup, 1 minute 45 seconds reserve time left. Again, their draft is very flexible at the moment, so it's kind of hard to know exactly what they want, though I would say it's at least another core of some sort, probably something for FBZ in the off lane. Though it does appear by the banouts here from SMG that they seem to believe it's a Yopaj mid laner that's lacking at the moment.
Yeah, I think it is, because we're likely seeing FBZ just take the Bloodseeker off. Probably Palos taking the Tiny safe. So it's only really Yopaj that lacks something. Yopaj heroes on hand, Wind Ranger's there if they want to. Laning against Storm's not too bad. I guess the Sand King's an option as well. Does give them team fight. And to a certain extent, stable control once the blink is up. But, I don't know, it's like anything on mid here still doesn't deliver you that instant lockdown. They go with a DP instead. So that is a nice silence to play with. Really early timing with push now coming up from Boom. Team fight's looking pretty decent. I still have massive issues with a Storm, but if you can start with an Avalanche silence coming through from the DP, that could be enough, at least until BKB is farmed up by the Storm, but that's not a high priority item in most cases. I don't think Moon's going to be rushing that as a second item even, probably third item pickup, so maybe like a 20-25 minute timer in a BKB here. SMG, we're just lacking our own mid one here on the safe lane, and there's a lot of ways you can go here. You could look for a really fast core to kind of buy the Storm space out. You could go for something that can just sit back and farm. I think if you want something that just ignores a lot of what Boom has, something like a Lifestealer could actually slot in here. You could bomb in the Night Stalker, Pango, Storm, 3 good targets to just jump into the fight here, Mike. And Tiny against Lifestealer, it's actually a back and forth one, because Tiny has a lot of strength gain on hand. Lifestealer's damage output with his passives does get blocked by physical resist, so armor kind of works against the Feast and the Frenzy. At the same time, Lifestealer doesn't really care. We've seen late game Lifestealer hold his own and just outlast you in the end. They go with the Nature's Prophet though. So this is cheeky from SMG. They take out the Nature's Prophet on 1 for mid 1 up against CTM. So it looks like they want to school Boom with their own signature heroes here.
Very, very aggressive style of draft from SMG, and it's kind of like you said, John. I mean, you're choosing this against CTM, who's known for running that in the pos 1 role, so I'm sure he'll have some words to say about it. But we'll see. I mean, SMG, that last game, they really shouldn't have been able to pull off the victory, and they did. See if they can do it again. Especially if they get off to a great start during this game too. It could be very, very scary for Boom Esports with the style of draft they have, which doesn't really feel like it does well from behind. It is the style of draft that looks like it needs to be played from ahead. And what is it, John? Apart from the fact that we have mid-snap fire, by the way. But
God!
What's
wow.
so funny, Jonathan?
I was looking at the lobby chat.
Yeah.
So Tim's, because Tim's and KP were teammates. Tim's was like, "Hey KP," and KP's like, "Hi boss, don't own me in this game, yeah." After that first game, Tim's was on fire. So back to the Boom draft. So Yopaj Snapfire mid, which we haven't seen since what, Pro Series 3? Right? Like that's when it popped off, and it was Yopaj running it a lot. So he's back to that. I don't think you rush Ags anymore, but you still kind of hit the same timings. You look for the late game, get your talents up, you can go right click. There's still some value in the Ags. I just don't think rushing it makes sense with nerf to Ags scaling to your actual ult, not just giving you flat 700 magic damage on hand. So the timing's not as impactful in terms of burning heroes down. We do have the Palestine off-lane Death Prophet as well. So it's a Bloodseeker Weaver support duo. It's something. Like, you do have time-lapse on the Weaver down the line. You have good minus armor running through with the Snapfire and the Weaver with a Swarm and the little Shredder. So you can just look to physically burst yours. Control, I just don't know what you do against Storm. Like, if you don't land your combinations at first, Moon is just going to zip around you.
Okay. So you're telling me that you think SMG's got the superior draft going into this game too, John?
Yeah, I'd say I'd lean towards SMG. I think they have really good early timings with Nature's Prophet. They can scale towards late game as well with that hero. They've got this pretty free Storm game for Moon. Like, there's just nothing from Boom that can stop that Storm Spirit. I think as the game goes on, and that's just going to be a bigger and bigger issue for Boom to have to look out for. How do you hold down a Storm when you don't have any hard stuns or very fast stuns like a Hex to throw onto this guy?
We'll find out. I mean, Boom Esports are going to have some kind of plan going. I'm more curious to see what itemization your Page goes for in this mid lane of the Snapfire. Like, you brought up the fact that you don't think the Ags is going to be the key item timing that we're looking for the Snap. I'm very curious to see what the replacement is going to be if that is the case. I suppose only time's going to tell here. Your Page, he is one of those cheeky kind of mid laners. Just tend to run some very awkward stuff in the mid lane, but can make it work and make it look very, very good. We'll see. It's game 2. I mean, Boom Esports, they lose this, they're knocked down to the lower bracket final. Definitely not out of it if they do lose this game 2, but you'd rather just get your way through to the grand final if you can, if you're Boom Esports. Same can be said, though, for SMG. One game away from the grand final, you'd love to get it done right here, right now.
Just trying to secure those last slots into the grand finals. We'll have to see who does pull off in the end. Still a bit of scuffle around the bounties, but not much. Looks like a rather even start for both sides, going 2-2. And we'll have to see. The lanes are going to be fascinating, right? Like, we've got the Sport Bloodseeker coming through again for CTM on the 5. He is going to be laning with Paolo. So this does make sense, right? Like, you've got Bloodright, you've got Avalanche Toss down the line. Not something Tiny prioritizes on the 1. They will be working against KP and Afu on the Night Stalker and the Grimstroke. And we've seen KP's Night Stalker before. It's standard stuff. You wait for like level 5 for the 5-minute mark first nighttime, get some farm up, and once you have Dark Ascension, that's when you can start running around. That's when you can start playing around with a value point and Crippling Fear. Just look to find space on the map. So that's a big launching point for SMG. And for Boom, you just gotta wait for maybe level 3. Once you've got that, with a value point in Avalanche, you could look to be aggressive with a Bloodright combo.
And I'm sure after that last game, I mean, KP, even though they did end up winning that game on the Venge, he was not having a very fun time, I'm sure. So, sure he told his team he wants something a little more aggressive that can actually do something. The Night Stalker is certainly one of those heroes. Of course, over in the mid lane, got Moon there against Yopaj, so the Storm vs Snapfire matchup is a very interesting one to kind of watch again. You kind of brought up the fact that we saw this during BTS Pro Series number 3. It's been a long while since then. And I'm curious, John, who do you give the favorable matchup to?
I'd actually say Snap overall, Mike. I think the laning damage of a Snapfire is pretty strong. You can see the Scatter Blast just shoving Moon away. It's good harassment, good wave clear. You've got the Cookie as well. The Storm can kind of balance that around with, say, his level 3 spike, if he gets a value point. on the Vortex, although against a range hero, you don't get much value in that. But I think Yopaj will be able to ride through. Even with a running start, though, my issue is how do you go from there? Like, you win your lane, what item do you go for first? And we're already seeing a hint from Yopaj. He's rushing travels, which is fine. The blink rush is the more interesting aspect with the Yules. I'm keen to see what exactly the game plan is, because it normally was Ags Rush, you kill everyone with your Kiss Gobble Up combo, because it's 700 magic damage at like 10 minutes in. You don't have that same instant spike, but if you abuse your mobility, if you abuse your laning spells up close and personal like that, it could still be really strong from Yopaj.
Yeah, it seems like he's trying to go for a bit of a cookie setup with the blink Yules, and obviously then into the cookie. Very, very curious to see how he does intend to make that work. As top lane, Rogi, not going to get dived here by Tims. We are now at that last lane where you do see mid one on that position 1 Nature's Prophet. We both had a bit of a giggle when we saw this Nature's Prophet being picked up in the POS 1 role for SMG, simply based off the fact that that's being played against CTM. Again, is known to play POS 1 Nature's Prophet when he is playing position 1. Is there any particular times we're looking out for here for mid range?
Yeah, basically initial rush into the Witchblade, then after that it's pretty open for POS 1 NP. We normally see on CTM before, we used to see like the Orchid timing right around the 12-minute mark right after a Witchblade, 12 to 15. And that could be the way to go for SMG if they want to. You could also just go Deso if you want to maximize your right click instead. Maelstrom's also a good option. Very open. I think the key thing for mid 1 is just hitting that initial Witchblade first.
Nice coming from the side there, but Rogi, he could be in trouble. And they do secure first blood. FBZ is able to take it himself on the Death Prophet. Rogi just 1 hit away from being able to get Tims, but did fall a little bit short. And in fact, mid lane, Moon ends up going down, and that was solo. Yopaj able to secure the kill himself, and is going to force the rotation in from Rogi.
That doesn't quite line up for SMG. Like Raji coming in, just a bit too late to look for something to do, so he can just soak the lane. But that kill's really important for Yopaj. Already 5 3/4 all the way to his level 6. Once the kisses are up, he could look for a side lane rotation. He could go greedy and just go for a 3-3 build with his cookie instead. And again, emphasizing laning spells in the snap. It's a lot of damage. It's a lot of control. That's not something the Storm Spirit can really hold out against. And Yopaj, he's just leveraging that. He knows he's tanky. He knows once he gets up close without a Vortex to cut him off, there's nothing to stop him.
Cookie's there, level 4 Moon, he can't escape from this! Oh, Yopaj, level 6.5 already on the Snapfire. A great Cookie out of the creep wave and right into the Mortimer's Kisses. You saw the confidence there from Yopaj. He knew he was landing that stun.
Oh yeah. And I think it goes back to just how much Snapfire this guy played mid for OB Neon. Not even OB Neon at that time, just Neon Esports back in Pro Series 3, Pro Series 4, Summit routine. There was a long time where that mid Snapfire was reigning supreme, and Yopaj is just showing why it dominates. Even without the Ags build up, you still win lane. So the next question that has to be answered is, will the cookie with the Blink and Yule setup pay off the same way? I think as long as he lands that combo as he has been, you can certainly hit a really good timing with that.
He's TP top now. He's rotating, John. Got a Snapfire moving in. Tims, he's going to have to set up with the Sakuchi, but no, mid one. He reads it. Is it going to matter, though? They have the Scanner Blast. Yopaj, he's going to make sure they secure the kill anyway. And I guess that's one little combo we didn't really think about too much. The Weaver Sakuchi into the Cookie, it can be quite devastating, and it's pretty easy to get caught off guard there.
The beauty of that combo as well, Mike, is that because Cookie has travel time, you can kind of line it up because of how fast you go with Sakuchi, right? So you can just preemptively toss the Cookie out, have Tims run out with Sakuchi, line up for a good stun, and go from there. And look at the map right now. Like CTM's being aggressive as well, and the Bloodseeker's starting to collapse mid. They just want to pressure Moon, and they understand if they put a nib, if they nip this in the bud on the Storm, down the line, you're not going to see that quick BKB timing. You're not going to see that quick level 6. The Kaya, the Orchid from the Storm's not going to be up fast enough. And Moon's already struggling. He's just about to hit 5. He needs his level 6 if he wants to survive in this lane solo.
Yeah, I was about to say, John, forget about the Orchid timing. I mean, he can't even hit level 6 yet. Yopaj is almost level 8. The Moon just sitting at 5. It's just such a rough time here for this Storm already. And it's like you mentioned, Tims is here. He's going to make sure Moon cannot feel comfortable prior to that level 6 mark. And it's a lot of respect being given the way of Moon on that Storm. But I think it's well and truly deserved. His last game, Moon, he had a great performance in that Mirana. This time on the Storm, understanding how important it's going to be for the draft of SMG for the Storm to have a good game. And in fact, here we go again. Mortimer's kisses are out. He still has no zip available, so he can't run.
Oh, God.
Yopaj snipes him again with the fireballs. It's now Rogi. He is barely going to avoid the cookie. They'll try and force a fight. KP's around. Yopaj, he's been the one that gets caught out. Ingswell's there. They'll lock him down and they'll secure the kill. So they get something. But they have really made sure Moon is not going to have a good game, at least for the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, and with that kind of movement coming through from SMG, it opens up the side lanes even more for Boom. So it's a solo lane for FBZ. While off that breaks down, he's got level 6 on his Death Prophet as well. Palos has been basically solo for a long time, and he's still free farming nicely up there in CS, although he's being rotated on now.
That he is. Inkswell with the silence out. Dark Ascension be popped, however, a nice toss back right as the Inkswell pops into the Avalanche. He needs some help though in CTM. He's going to be around to try and make sure Palos does not drop, but KP, he'll go around the tree line. He's just waiting for that Soul Ring to be off cooldown, so he has the mana for that level 3 Void. But there's your salve out now. KP, he'll move in. TP's there from mid 1. Blood Ride's out. It shouldn't help though. Palos, he'll still be a man on the run. Avalanche is there, but KP eventually should have enough damage with the Void unless he loses vision. Palos, toss back up. They do eventually get the kill, but now FBZ's rotated. Death Prophet's there, and they do get KP down as a trade.
It's back and forth. They also managed to find Moon once more, which is an even bigger kill going the way of Boom. Again, punishing that Storm for just trying to find any farm he can get. In the end, SMG are putting a lid on Palos. They're not doing enough to enable their Storm. They are giving some space out for mid 1 to run around and be active on the NP. And because they force FBZ down, they don't need to worry about a push control. They lost their top tier 1 already, so it doesn't really matter. Exorcism did its job. They get the team fight in Boom's end. They don't have a massive net worth lead. It is just 1k. So SMG is still in a position where they can try to flash farm back. I think they just have to ride out this power spike. Like, you just don't fight into how strong the Snapfire is right now, because she will just melt you if the control flies in.
They tried just then, but Yopaj unable to land the cookie there with Tims. Is now Arfu and KP gonna rotate. They want the Snapfire dead. It's just worth so much XP right now to make sure Yopaj dies, and they'll get him. In fact, they might find a consolation in the form of CTM as mid 1. Puts the hand up for a high 5. He'll get one from Moon, but I have a funny feeling, John, it wasn't intended for Moon.
Yeah, I think he was eyeing it maybe for CTM, because he's playing the NP. We talked about this. He wants to show off, and the tips are flying through from Yopaj. Mid 1's just been showing up around the map, willing to put his body forward, knowing that if you do gap close on the Snapfire core, it doesn't have much to play with. Like, you could try to cookie out, it's not going to be enough. And they just get the punish. So it's back to that issue with Snap that we talk about. You win your lane, you find those kills. Will this itemization for Yopaj do enough? So far, just with the travels, he's not really managing to give more here.
Ooh, Dark Ascension popped out of the bot lane. I believe they were... I don't think it was CTM. It was FBZ they were trying to chase down to that bot lane with the Dark Ascension and Inkswell, but it doesn't end up working out for them as FBZ TP's out just in the nick of time. They still managed to find that bottom tier 1 tower, something they desperately needed. Boom Esports probably won't be too worried about that, as have a look back at Moon, John. He's just about to hit level 7. Avalanche is out, Tims is going to find him, but Moon has plenty of mana. He should be just fine this time around. They will annoy him though, and make sure he can't farm freely.
That's the important bit for Boom there, Mike. Even though you're losing Yopaj, as long as you're not giving a window for Moon to actually jump back in and use that space, you're still in a relatively good position. And Boom, they're just going for the smokes. They've got the Exorcism ready, so FBZ could line up for a push. Their bot lane is being shoved in, and you gotta respect the Nature's Prophet. It's still an NP, it can still split push even with just the Blightstone and creeps up.
There's almost a level 10 Yopaj around here with Tims now. John Cookie's going to be there, mid 1. He'll get stunned up, and here come the fire. Raining from the skies. In fact, Yopaj, look at his aim, John. He found Arfu blind. It won't matter because they can't cast the TP anyway. But just so dominant once you land that initial cookie from your Page. That'll be another kill on the scoreboard for our Snapfire.
They're just playing around that timing, that combination with Weaver. It's just such a sneaky way of initiating. It's not easy to spot out. Inside of SMG, Moon, what's he doing here?
He tried to go after Tim's, but Cookie, not gonna land. They were trying to land the Ingswell Zip combination there onto Tim's, but now Tim's just going to turn it right back around on the Weaver. Rolling Thunder on the side. They've got Rogi around to try and help out, and he might be able to lock down FBZ and does get a secondary stun to allow the zip in. Cookie, it's not going to help. Moon, able to take another kill on the Storm. However, in the meantime, Tim's, he does snipe Arfu, but now they've got the Weaver down. And I almost thought to myself, like, wait a minute, who's going to sight the Vice up? But it was the pig out with the pig stick there from Tim's.
Not the right timing. He had time lapse ready, so the pig pole actually ends up hurting him a lot more, and hence the tip coming through. Good punishment coming out from SMG. It's one of those things again. They find an opening. They find a couple of kills. It's not the biggest kills. It's not enough to drag the network back, but it does give them something to play with. It does give them more room to farm up. Moon, he only hits power treads now, but it's a recovery process. You know, he's trying to play catch up, still behind FBZ on farm. Needs a lot more, but maybe with just all the mana he has from his levels, he could try to be aggressive again, looking for that Inkswell combo as you pointed out earlier on, Mike.
Oh, they could find a massive kill. Palos gonna get zipped on. They've got the Vortex. They've got the follow-up Inkswell. They should have the damage. So eventually Palos understands he's gonna die. And KP will be the one to take it to the Night Stalker.
It's a important kill for Moon to be a part of, as it does add onto his farm. They are hitting some spikes here on SMG though. Mid one has that Orchid up. So the NP when it comes in is going to be even more effective. KP breaks the smoke here.
Yeah, great vision here from KP. Getting this information for the team, but can they fight now that the nighttime's gone? Doesn't seem like it. Cookie's going to be there. Rogi, he will get himself out, but they got a much better target in KP anyway.
You kill off that Night Stalker. Probably not the target you were looking for with the smoke, though. And that's still important for SMG. They're protecting their NP, they're protecting their Storm, they're getting some recovery out. Boomer's still working the map well. They've still got the lead, 10-7, 2k up. They haven't been able to make too much progress on objectives. And that's what we need to see from Boom next. They need to really keep this map shut, because SMG still has some room to farm, and we saw it in game one. Just a little bit of room open. As long as they manage to find an opportunity, they can still get punishment out.
And they go. X's and pop tier, FBZ. They aim down that top tier 2 tower. So there'll be no real defense coming out from SMG. Rogi, he'll pump fake the Rolling Thunder a few times, but that's going to be about it for him. Nice scan out though. He's going to spot out Arfu. Yapage. He'll get silenced up, but the Cookie is barely going to make it in time. And that'll be another kill to go the way of Boom Esports.
They're just finding everything now. And with that top tier 2 gone, map space is growing more limited for SMG.
Bot lane, John. Yeah, mid one. He's been scouted, but he does have help around him. Double silence out from FBZ. They'll try to go after Moon first, but he'll zip away. Ruptures out. It's got KP on the Night Stalker. He's going to try and TP away, and it looks like he is not going to make it, Yapage. He's there with the Cookie once again, and they've got the final piece. They've got mid one. KP, he's going to try and run, but there's really no way out. Yapage body blocks him. So he wanted to try and give the kill the way of FBZ on the Death Prophet. That'd be a nice cleanup now for Boom Esports.
SMG are still hanging around the area though, Moon and Rogi. Maybe looking for that opportunity to jump onto FBZ, but they don't quite have enough damage. They could try, as FBZ doesn't have much mana. They will just play safe, try to hit those item spikes. Boom, starting to really wrangle this map their way. They're just getting a lot of space out for Palos. Echo Saber up, Blink flying up now as well. So the initiation's on hand now for Boom to play with. That instant avalanche toss and double hit, the tree grab. It's just going to melt pretty much most heroes except maybe the Night Stalker here on SMG. And for SMG, it's still a matter of stalling the game. Pulling back, getting Moon up and running, getting mid one more items on top of just the Orchid. He is working towards the BKB now on the Nature's Prophet.
He's got no mana, John, but CTM doesn't see him. Oh, that's a close call, and Moon, he knows how much danger he was in. But he does barely manage to get his way out, as now FBZ is going to try and chase down Rogi, where Atos is going to be there, and with the courier, they can actually get some vision onto the Pango. They won't need it any longer. Still, Rogi might be able to buy a bit of space. He's got another swashbuckle up, but no, Yopaj. He's there with the Scatter Blast. They'll at least find a Pango, and it's into an immediate smoke up here from Boom Esports.
They just need to keep that pressure up. They can't relent. I think they understand if you do give openings for the Storm. Once more, it's going to be hard to control Moon if he does itemize. And speaking of...
Well, silence is there, but it doesn't actually land. That'll be about it. They don't quite get the initiation they wanted, so they won't bother continuing the chase. They might be able to try and force a fight top lane, but it seems like SMG are well and truly prepared for this one.
They've got the numbers, they've got the creep wave shoved in, with Nature's Prophet. Mid one's just hanging further back. He understands that doesn't need to really show up for the push. Get that done. They are splitting their forces up though, SMG.
He's there onto the creep wave. Meanwhile, bot lane, Tims, he could be in a spot of danger. Mid one's got the Orchid up this time around so they can zip in and secure the kill, as they even found FBZ. He's going to try and pop the ulti. Kiss is flying in as well. It could be a great team fight here for Boom, as FBZ, he is not dead yet. Onto mid one they go. Avalanche tosses there, and they found another. In fact, Moon, he's not out of danger yet either. They'll get the third. It's that classic Death Prophet bait, where you think you can kill this hero, but once he gets a couple Spirit Siphons going, it starts to feel impossible.
Really does. And the worst thing about that for SMG there, Mike, is that they didn't even find the top tier 1. So they didn't get that tower gold. They didn't manage to get the objective. They've TP down for the fight. Doesn't pan out. They don't have enough burst and control to take care of the Death Prophet. Now, fortunately for SMG, Boom can't quite go into Roshan. Exorcism fades. A bit harder to take that objective. But they still have the 5k lead on Boom. They still have a lot of momentum behind them.
Halos gonna destroy Rogi in that mid lane, but now Moon and mid one are there to try and hold down this Tiny. Don't forget, this is a pos 1 Tiny, so it's worth a lot of gold here for the side of SMG, but they can't claim the kill. Cookie's there. KP, he's going to keep trying, but he will be another death for the side of SMG, as now Boom Esports, they can just rush forward onto another. They found the big target. They've got mid one. And with the kisses to fly in, there is no way out for him, as they get another. And Boom, they're just so good at counter-initiating with this draft. SMG, they're just nowhere near close enough to be able to pull these fights back their way yet.
I get what SMG is trying to do here as well, Mike. Like, they're trying to counteract that aggression with their own forward movement by having the NP show up with the Orchid. We haven't seen the big silence coming through. We haven't seen the big control coming through with that item. And I think the key thing's still Storm. Just with a Kaya, it's not quite there. With a BKB, if you can stand in front, just use your spells, get a good Vortex off, that could be the turning point, but that's still a ways off.
Oh, Atos is out. They've got the stun off onto KP, and Rogi, he's going to be around to help out. That'll be enough. KP, just happy to be alive. Needed 10 more seconds for the Dark Ascension. Nice little save there from Rogi, as now Yopaj, he'll head up towards that top lane. He's found that target they love to go for, but misses the Scatter Blast. Orchid out, that'll make sure he can't stun, but he has the Yule Scepter up. So he'll cancel the TP off mid one. He's going to try and make a run for it, but Tims should be able to keep up the vision. Yopaj, meanwhile, no Mortimer's kisses, but he has the cookie. And that'll be enough to lock him down. And I'll tell you, John, even though this mid-snapfire hasn't been a thing for a while, Yopaj is making it look very good throughout this game. Number 2 is now Rogi and Moon could be in a spot of danger. Cookie, not going to be there yet. They'll try to bring in Tims, but there's your Cookie out. Perfect timing into the Scatter Blast. They'll find another kill onto Moon, as now they've got Rogi. They'll get a second. In fact, KP, he's going to try and run along with Arfu, but it looks like they might at least be able to find the Grimstroke, and they will. Another one for the Grandma.
Man, the movement from Boom is just so unpredictable. Like, they get the kill top, you feel safe bot, but they're already TPing bot for more kills. Like they're just not relenting on the aggression. There's no room for SMG to find that farm on the Storm. Like they're doing a fantastic job on Boom here, Mike, just preventing any sort of openings from SMG to line up. They've got that 9k lead hammered in on Boom side. They're still progressing well on Palos. BKB coming out for the Tiny next. Our Snapfire is just doing insane work with the travels. It's paying dividends back, and she is going to hit the BKB into Daedalus time. So it's still, you know, into that late game buildup we talked about. Just hit your talent spikes, and that's when you become a right-click core. And, you know, Yopaj is still lined up to do that. Roshan opened up with the Exorcism running, not going to take long. SMG, no vision out to watch Rosh. Gonna have to surrender that first Aegis of the game, and that just complicates things for SMG. Their win condition, their bounce back potential still remains the same. It's all about Moon on Storm actually getting more items up. And from there, that's when you can start finding some angles to get the zips, to get the control, to find kills.
Tims. They saw the Weaver, but again, they're unable to really jump in and lock him down. Mid one, he's just chilling, hoping somebody does come down to this bot lane to defend. As they have got the whole side of SMG on this southern side of the map. In the end, I suppose, worst case scenario, SMG, they can still secure that bottom tier 2 tower as Palos is going to rotate, but this could cost him. He'll move in onto mid one. Mid one, he's got the BKB up, and he's going to be alright for now, as Moon will save the day. And now with the Rolling Thunder out, Rogi, he's already TPing. He'll be... Oh, mid one. Oh, they forgot somebody behind. That's a bit of a whoopsie there from the side of SMG. That's the last person you wanted to leave behind, but they've lost the prophet.
Radiant are scanning.
SMG took a massive risk making that play. Like, just having those spawns at all.
Down Afu. Another one.
You know, it's racking up for Boom. I don't know if you can keep playing that way with a prophet, like standing on the side, using your Sprout, your Treants to come in and just push like that right by a tier 2, because it just gives your position away. And just makes it so easy for the Tiny to get the Avalanche, to start finding you out, get the burst off. They are being a bit risky up top, though.
They're going to try and go after Tims, but the Rupture's there onto Rogi, so they can at least find a trade. In fact, now with the kisses in, it's going to be very hard to try and fight if you are SMG. It's KP and Moon. They'll retreat. Cookie out for Tims, but he's still silenced up and will eventually die. Is now mid one. Who are we aiming? They'll go after CTM. So still a positive trade for the side of SMG this time around. Though as I say that, Palos moves in, but he'll be unable to find anyone. Yopaj is trying to find that mid one, the Nature's Prophet, but in the end won't be able to scout him out and will back off. So the team fight does tend to lead now the way of SMG.
They find the kills, but it's only support kills. So it's a situation where you'll take what you can get. It's not the impactful kills that bounce you back in. It's still important to kind of give yourself some network to start racking up some items. I think the scary part right now, though, is that Boom are hitting their second power spike in Yopaj. He has his level 20 talent. Right?
This could be scary right here. Palos, he's BKB'd up. He's going to try and fight. In fact, Yopaj shows up out of nowhere with the shotgun. He'll find a double. Oh, Boots to travel up. Yopaj, he just got there so darn quick. I thought Palos was dead for sure. There were 4 heroes around.
They can't handle the spell mute. I think the BKBs alone make it very hard to commit onto one hero. And Afu, again, left behind. Yeah, exact same spot. Visits the grave once more. They can't handle it. I don't think the Tiny's the big core you want to go for. If you want to punish someone, it has to be either the DP, which is also tough. Likely easiest one is that Snap. But the BKBs just put such a big question in it. And that second power spike, Mike, for our Snap. Level 20 is up. Lil Shredder using attack damage is there. Crystallis is up on Yopaj. So I don't know how you handle this anymore. Like, he's doing such great work with his magic damage. Now you have to worry about his physical output as well. It's just, it's a lot for SMG to have to work around this time around.
Yeah. Ironically enough, SMG may be under gunfire very soon, John. Yopaj, that Daedalus up. Gonna put the shotgun away and take out the machine gun. In fact, bot lane, who we found, it's gonna be mid one. Both cores BKB up. Can we get some lucky crits here for Yopaj? We do, but not enough. If you have the Daedalus, it would have certainly been enough damage. However, top lane, Palos, gonna find Rogi. Not quite the target they would have liked to take, but they'll have to settle for what they get. As Moon, still very aggressively trying to farm here on the Storm, is gonna be able to zip away anyway.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
It's just fine.
Radiant's top tower has
They do at least get a top tier 1 tower for their trouble, but there is danger incoming as Boom Esports. They're going to spawn out KB there on the Night Stalker. Do they have the lockdown? Yules is available on CTM, but they've lost vision.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
End up just leaving it and backing up.
It's small wins for SMG. They're not losing the big cores they want to build a farm on. They avoid most of these bigger engagements. Aegis does expire on Palos, but they don't have outer towers left. So they don't have many lanes to really dip outside, get some creep farm up, and keep that farm going to try to bounce back in. They're still at a 17k deficit, and as this game slows down, we've seen what Tiny late game's like. The scaling of this here is still sickening, because you have so much armor from Grow, you have so much HP, and BKB alone, look at Moon.
Yeah, I mean, the damage, John, it's too much. And that's without the silver edge up, so that's without having that guaranteed crit on the Tiny. Moon, he just lost half his HP from the first 2 physical strikes of the Tiny. And then you add the avalanche toss to the mix, and it's just too much.
Yeah, it's I don't know. For SMG, it does still feel like Moon's that one condition they have left. Especially if he, say, gets a BKB axe. I just don't know if there's enough time for that. Their high ground's being ripped through with Exorcism, with Tiny's physical output. Doesn't take too long.
That it does not. John FBZ, they're going to move up. Palos. You talk about the Exorcism, but Palos with those right clicks. Very, very scary here. Rolling Thunder. Inkswar going to be there. Rogi, he'll move in. Soulbind down as well. KB going to move in from the side, but Rogi's already gone. KB, he can't sustain the damage as now the kisses are out. Arfu, he's so far away, but he might die anyway. How good's your accuracy, Yopaj? It's good enough. Moon? Yeah, he'll zip in, but it's only after creeps. He can't deal with the hero right now.
Oh boy. That's going to open up the mega creeps here for Boomite. SMG, they already used their big spells for the defense. They have no way to counterfight. They have no way to defend on the high ground. And that should just lead Boom to start running through the objectives. Yopaj, he's got his Daedalus flying in, Mike. That's going to be exciting. We talked about him lacking damage. He's going to have that up. Palos has the full silver edge. It's the guaranteed crit you mentioned is going to be there as well. One set of racks left for SMG. 24k down, 35 to 10 at 29.5 minutes in. SMG, they've got to get something.
Palos does get caught. That is a big, big something if they can take him down. Palos is still perfectly fine. He has no BKB up, but he does have teammates around him. KB is going to move in. Mid one, he'll TP in as well. Moon, he's gone. KP's gone as well. Mid one, he's going to try and man fight. They do at least get Palos, but it'll be at the cost of mid one, and they call it. They have seen enough. They have had enough. This is just such a dominant game number 2 here from Boom Esports. And that's going to force us to a game 3 between these two great teams.
Yeah, outstanding performance from Boom. You know, they had that great start we saw in game 1. Maybe not as much of an overwhelming start this time around, but they still had that really strong showing for the first 15 to 20 minutes. They slow down Moon. That's the big aspect. I think this game can be boiled down to basically the mid matchup. Yopaj on the snap just took complete control of that lane early on. He had that huge 2-level lead over Moon, as you pointed out, Mike. And Moon just couldn't do anything. Like, the Storm couldn't hit the Orca timing we were talking about, couldn't hit the Kaya timing at the normal time we see it. The BKB came out right before that last fight, and it just was too little, too late from SMG. Boom, this time around, took control of the map, prevented SMG from finding openings, and do manage to close out. So, going with that flex, going with that snapfire, shifted onto mid, catches SMG off guard. And they've got to be aware of that snapfire mid once more from, what, a year ago now? Right around a year ago. It was around this time last year where that was really popping off. Now they have to consider if that's something ban-worthy at this point.
I love these kind of weird mids coming out, like Moon with the Mirana game 1, Yopaj back into the mid snapfire game 2, and ironically enough, both of them worked out. Both of them won them their games. we'll see how Game 3 turns out and what kind of mid-heroes we're going to see here from either of these two. As we are going to head to a short 10-minute break, but right after that break, we're going to be back with Game 3 of this upper bracket final between Boom Esports and Team SMG.